It's a podcast. It's a podcast. It's a podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy and Other Stuff podcast. I hope you're doing well. Me, I'm doing great. I'm having a fantastic time. I'm still in Bangkok, but I'll only be here for a few more days. I think the next episode is also going to be here. And today, we're going to do a little weekly reading update. Wow, it's been a whole week since the last one. Can you believe that? A whole week since my last reading update, and I gotta be honest, I don't have a whole lot to update you about in terms of actual reading. I started reading The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I am loving it so far. I've seen some reviews of this book, and I can understand where people are coming from with this. It reads a little bit like a history textbook at times. It's got like this vibe where Ken Liu will kind of zoom out and go over like entire events in like a paragraph, and then zoom back in, and you're like back with the characters, and like they'll have conversations and you'll get an insight to where they are like emotionally and stuff. And I've actually quite liked that approach. I've just never seen it done before. Like I've never seen a book that has that textbook feel at times. And I think I can understand why like some people are turned off by that, but I've been enjoying it. And I gotta be honest, in terms of actual reading, that's really all I've been doing is I've been reading that. I'm about 60% of the way through, I think. It's like a 600-page book, so I've been trucking along. I started reading it like 4 days ago, so just after my last reading update. So it's really, I've been doing some good reading. I've been having a good time. I've been being a jolly old fella. I do want to apologize for this coming out a day late, because usually the reading update will happen on Saturday. Yesterday I was going to record it and then upload it, but I had like a very strange mental health day, and I couldn't get myself to stand in front of a camera and talk. So we're doing it today, though. We're doing it today, and we're gonna have a party. Today's a party day. Just in case you didn't know, today is global party day because it's the release of a new Fantasy and Other Stuff episode. And every time I release a new episode, actually all the governments of the world, I have a deal with them. It's a national holiday for every government. So no matter where you're at, it's a little known fact, but you should see posters of me somewhere in your hometown because it's a national holiday. Christmas Schmishmish. Fantasy and Other Stuff podcast release day. That's the best holiday. And if you disagree with that, you're probably right. Alright, so yeah, reading. I've been reading The Grace of Kings and also still doing my reread of One Piece. I'm at Baratier right now. I stopped there because I want to give that arc, I want to kind of treat it like it's its own book almost, which is kind of how I'm thinking I'm going to handle manga this year. Which, in that vein, I wanted to talk about some of the other manga I want to read this year, because last year I read almost none. I read Kagurabaki last year. I've been keeping up loosely with Sakamoto Days. Obviously, I read every new One Piece chapter when it comes out, but like, I didn't really read any manga like start to finish last year, which is the first time in a long time that I've done that. 'Cause for a while I was reading too many. It kind of put me into a slump after I finished catching up on One Piece like a couple of years ago. I haven't really read much since then. I've read Berserk since then. That's like the only one that I did from start. Well, no, I read what's it called? Brain, why can't I think of it? The one where the guy is traveling around like a giant space station and he's got like this super overpowered pistol. Why can't I think of the name of that right now? Blame, right? It's Blom or Blame. I don't know, it looks like Blame with an exclamation point. I read that last year. Also fantastic. Great manga. But I just haven't been as consistent with that as I want to be. Hold on. Is my recording still going? Yes. Okay, sorry. I'm like recording on my laptop, and if the screen goes black, I immediately start panicking. I'm like, no, wait. But no, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, I read that last year, but I want to read some more this year because I've been slacking. And the number one manga, well, I guess I read some Vagabond, or not Vagabond. I read Vinland Saga last year. I read some of it. But this year, I want to read Vagabond. That's probably why I thought of it. I want to read Vagabond. I've read the beginning of that so many times. I've read up till like chapter, I want to say like 40 or 50. I can't remember exactly where I stopped, but every single time I've been reading on like a less than reputable website. If you catch my drift, if you catch what I'm saying, if you understand the subtle meaning behind my words, less than reputable, maybe you know what I'm talking about. I was reading it on a pirated website, okay? And every single time I started reading it, I would go to like a different location, and then the location I was in, that website wasn't available anymore. So I started reading it in America last year, and then I moved to Vietnam, and then I couldn't read it anymore. And then I started reading it in Vietnam, and then I was on vacation or something. I went on vacation somewhere. I think I was in Korea, and it wasn't available again, and I stopped reading it for a week, and I never picked it back up. I don't know why. I'm really enjoying it up to the point that I was at, and I just keep forgetting. So I'm going to do that this year. I want to read Vagabond. There's so many that I want to read. That's a big one. I also want to read... another one that I started and never finished was 20th Century Boys. That's one that I started last year, and then the same thing happened with the website. Maybe I should just start, purchasing things legally. But that costs money. I don't want to spend money on... See, the great thing about something like One Piece or like, any shonen manga is that you can pay like $2. This is a fun tip for anyone who wants to get into reading manga and like you just don't know where to start, and maybe you don't want to like start buying a bunch of physical volumes because that's a lot of money to be spending. If you want to read anything shonen, so like One Piece, Naruto, Demon Slayer, whatever it is, most of the big ones that you know about are going to be shonen. You can just literally buy a subscription to the Shonen Jump app for like $2 a month, and you'll have access to all of them. And like, it doesn't cost you extra money to read any of them. Like that's all included. And you could just like read it on the iPad. You can read it on your Kindle. You can read them on your phone if you really want. I like the art. I like studying artwork a little bit when I'm reading, so I like to have it a little bit bigger. But like I've read it on my PC before. I've read it on my laptop. I've read it. Sometimes I do read on my phone. Like if I'm bored and I have nothing to do, I'll just read on my phone. So that's a fun tip for anyone who wants to get into reading manga. I do highly suggest it if you're a big fantasy fan, especially. There's some amazing stories in there. Obviously, I'm a huge One Piece fan, and I think it's a fantastic story. Berserk, I think, is probably the one most people will enjoy the most from the get-go, especially if you're a dark fantasy fan. So, highly recommend both of those. But, anyways, how did I get here? What was I talking about? I was talking about manga. There's a whole list. Actually, I have a whole TikTok I made that I'll post soon-ish that's all about all the manga I want to read this year. So, speaking of TikTok, we got to talk about TikTok right now. Okay, it might be getting banished to the Shadow Realm. It might be getting the kibosh. The U.S. government is sending John Wick to destroy the TikTok servers in America. Oh, I'm not going to get too much into that. I have opinions. I have very strong opinions. We'll leave it at that. Okay, obviously I'm biased. It's kind of my job now to be on TikTok. If it goes away, come follow me on Instagram. I think if you're listening to this, you probably already do, or you're following me in some other way, shape, or form, and I don't need to be telling you this, but I am nervous, okay? I have 123,000 followers on TikTok now, which is so cool. Thank you, guys. That's like the coolest thing that's the biggest flex of all time. And now they might be getting kicked out of the house. They might be getting punted to the sidewalk. And I don't want it. I'm not going to do it. It's like if I invited 120,000 people into my house and then some other random dude came in and started kicking them out. It's not your house. It's my house. You get out of you stop. But I can't invite them back in because the door is locked and I don't have the key. And so now I have to move to a whole other house. I have to buy a whole other house, but like I can't even tell people how to get there. I'm going to send physical letters in the mail to everyone, but how many people are going to actually see it? This is a terrible metaphor. I'm a little nervous about bringing my audience over to a different platform, and I hate what's going on with that. It's fine. Maybe it'll be saved. Maybe someone will buy it or something. I don't know, man. I'm nervous, though. I don't like it. I don't want it to happen. Anyways, I'm done with that rant, okay? Just a little frustrated by that. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about my traveling. I don't want to spend too much time talking about traveling because I feel like I did a lot last episode, and this is a book podcast, and I have to remember that. I forget sometimes, and I just start rambling about nonsense. So I've been doing all the touristy stuff in Bangkok. I haven't gone to the temples yet. I'm probably going to do that like tomorrow. I forgot, if you ever come here, you need to have pants, or you can buy pants, I guess. I don't have any space in my luggage, so I can't. But if you want to go into any of the temples, you have to like have your knees covered, and you can't wear like tank tops or anything. You have to wear short sleeve shirt is fine. But I went there a couple days ago, forgot that I needed to have pants. And then I could have bought pants, but I have pants. I just didn't wear them. So, unnecessary detail to the story. I went and saw them from the outside, but I couldn't go in. So I'm probably going to do that soon. A lot of just walking around, eating food. I went to a bunch of... They have really cool malls here. Like, giant malls. Like, 7-story malls. And, like, one floor of the mall is, like, 7 times the size of my hometown mall. Like, they're huge. And they have all sorts of stores there. I don't buy anything. I just like walking around in an air-conditioned place because it's really hot here. And they'll have, like, sometimes they'll have, like, stalls for food. I went to one the other day where they actually had, like, the whole bottom level of the mall was, like, a river market that they had, like, I mean, it wasn't, like, actually a river, but, like, they transformed that level of the mall into a river market, which is really cool. Really fucking cool. So I've had all sorts of cool adventures while I'm here. I went and saw, so there was this gathering in one of the malls where there was, like, hundreds of people gathered around this stage. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, why are all these people sitting? I thought there was going to be, like, a concert or something. But it was, like, literally the middle of the mall. So I was like, what is going on? And I had to see what was going to happen. So I went up one of the escalators so I could, like, get a better viewpoint. And I'm watching. I'm like, is there going to be, like, a Thai celebrity that walks out? Is it going to be, like a dance group or something? It was a fucking... It was a 7-Eleven mascot. It was a 7-Eleven bear mascot that came out. People lost their minds. People were going crazy, dude. It was so funny. It was like the last thing I was expecting to see, and it was I was dying. Like, people going. I can't think of an equivalent. Like, maybe like the mascot of a college. You know, they step out into the field or something, and people, you know, go crazy for him. But like a 7-Eleven bear, I don't know, man. That feels kind of like. You know, I'm not going to judge anyone. I get excited over stupid stuff. It just was it was surprising, and I thought it was very funny. Also, why in the middle of the mall? Like, what? I don't know, man. It's fine. It was cool. It was a funny experience. Yeah, I'm loving it here, though. It's Bangkok is different than I expected. So I lived in Thailand a few years ago, and then... But it was like during COVID time, so like everything was closed and I couldn't really do anything, and I ended up living on the islands instead of actually in Bangkok. So now that I'm here, it's like 95% tourists everywhere I've been going because I'm doing tourist stuff. Don't like that aspect of it. You know, it's fine. I know, like, obviously I'm doing touristy stuff, so if I went in there expecting anything else but that's on me. It's just that the tourists here are crazy. they're kind of weird and strange, and I don't like a lot of them. They're very loud, and I just don't like probably the worst tourist I've come across are here, and I don't know exactly why. I think it's in part because there's not very many laws in Bangkok, and if you get caught doing anything in Thailand, you just pay the police officer and they'll let you go. It's a real thing. So I think a lot of people just kind of behave crazy. Like I said, like they don't really think about the consequences or what they're doing. Also, weed is legal here, and so you can just buy it. I'm not saying that's making anyone act crazy. If anything, those are probably the chill people, or the people who came here to smoke weed. But listen, you know, I'm not a parent. I probably won't be anytime soon. Why would you bring your kids here? Like, I'm not saying when you have kids you have to stop traveling, stop doing stuff, but like, why here? I get coming to Thailand, like, you know, give them like a cultural experience. Why here in Bangkok? Why in this area? Why would you come here where there's people drunk as shit everywhere, people smoking weed everywhere, people just acting like buffoons? You know, weird, you see some stuff. Don't bring your kids here, maybe. I don't know. I feel like it's not a good idea. That's just me. I feel like it's probably, maybe do something else. I don't know. Like, take them somewhere where it's like you know what, I'm not a parent. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about, but I feel strange seeing like 6-year-olds walking around this area. I'm like, maybe this isn't the right place for you to be, you know? Maybe go somewhere else. Maybe a different part of the city. Maybe. I'm like not in a great... I mean, I'm like in a very touristy area, but it's like the party area, which I've been drinking a little bit. I don't like it. I don't like alcohol. The fun fact about me, don't like it. Don't like drinking. I'm not... Ask anyone that knows me. I just don't... I don't like doing it. Maybe like once a month I'll have a night out where I drink with my friends, and it's like, that's enough. I'm done after that for a while. Problem with traveling is that everyone you meet while you're traveling, that's all they want to do. I don't like doing that. In the past 10, however long I've been traveling, it's been like 2 weeks now, I've drank like 3 or 4 times, like I've gone out. That's too much. It's too much. I can't do this every week. No way. So I'm done. I'm already done with alcohol, man. I'm done. No more. No mas. Next time someone invites me out for a drink, I'm getting a fruity drink with no alcohol in it. I'm gonna get a smoothie. That's what I'm gonna do. And then they'll ask me, "Oh, what is that?" And I'll say, "It's a smoothie with rum in it." And I'm lying. I'm gonna lie to them. I'm gonna lie right to their faces. And what are they gonna do about it? What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Nothing. They'll do nothing. And I'll get away with it. Oh, I'm gonna be a schemer. I'm gonna be a little schemy little fella. They're never gonna know. That is if I go out at all, because honestly, I really just want to sit around and do nothing. I want to sit around and read. I want to sit around and watch movies. Speaking of movies, forgot about this. I went to one of the malls like a few days ago. They were showing Interstellar in IMAX. They were showing it like 10 years. I guess it's like the 10th anniversary. So they were showing it in IMAX. And dude, never bought a ticket so fast in my life. Never in my life. I was like, holy shit, I'm going right now. I don't even care. I'm going right now, and I did. That movie still holds up. Say what you want about it. I don't give a shit. I love that movie. Fantastic movie. It gets me in the feels every single time. Also, some of the sequences, like, how did Christopher Nolan even do it? Like, it's just so... When you want to talk about, like, movies that capture, like, an epic scope, I think I can only think of a few movies off the top of my head. Like, there are movies that are big and that cover a long period of time and that... are very well made and capture scope of emotion, an epic scope of emotion, which is, in its own way, something great. But I'm talking about, like, epic scope of events. I can only think of a few off the top of my head. So, like, Lord of the Rings, obviously. I think that's the number one choice that pretty much anyone would choose, is Lord of the Rings, right? Dune, I would say Dune and Dune Part 2, both also are very, very good at that. I can't think of anything right now. I'm sure there's more, but Interstellar is on that list in terms of it just captures such giant ideas, and also captures. I don't know. It's hard to explain. If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. Where like there's just this scale to everything, the scale to not only the mission that is like the central the plot proponent of the movie, but also just. There's a lot of, like, people going to new planets and doing, like, interstellar space travel. And the way Christopher Nolan captures it in that movie, I just goosebumps, dude. Goosebumps. It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. God, I love Interstellar, man. I was so happy I got to go see it again. That was and it was also, like, a luxury theater. So I had, like, a whole, like, couch, essentially, to myself and, like, a blanket. Oh, dude, it was nice. It was nice. A great movie experience. And if it's showing, it might be showing near you. I looked it up afterwards. Apparently, like AMC. Well, so I knew AMC was doing it a while ago, and I missed it. But I think they're still doing it. So, if you love that movie as much as me, I would check. I would check near you and just see if maybe it's showing, because it's worth seeing again. It still holds up. So that was a great experience. I did not expect to be doing that in Thailand, but no regrets. I kind of like seeing movies when I have like a long day of just walking around. It's nice to like kind of unwind that way, What else have I done here? Yeah, that's right. I went to a bookstore. There's a bookstore right around the corner from my hotel, and I walked past it like 3 or 4 times before I noticed it was there. It's a real hole-in-the-wall place. It's super cool. They have a bunch of just like secondhand books, and they're like, a lot of them are like really old paperback editions, so you can walk through and like they've been passed around. Like those books have been well loved, well read many times, and it's so cool the variety that they have there, because they'll have everything from classics and up to. They'll have books from other languages and other countries, and they'll have travel books and all sorts of stuff. And then they had this fantasy section that I went there, and they had a bunch of like really old like epic fantasy. Like they had like David Gemmell. They had Raymond D. Feist. They had a bunch of stuff, and they had like the old editions of them, like really old paperback editions that are probably 50 years old. And it was really cool to see that those had been preserved and were still being sold at this bookstore. Because honestly, I don't even, in my hometown, I can't think of anywhere that would have that kind of stuff. I think a lot of used bookstores are transitioning out of selling used books, at least near where I live, and that's kind of sad to me. So it was cool to like randomly find that in Bangkok. I didn't think that was going to be something I would find here either. So I looked around for a while, and I had this weird moment of I found. This was so strange to me. This is such a weird coincidence. So I started reading The Grace of Kings, earlier this week. They had the second book in that series. For some fucking reason. They didn't have any of the rest of the series. They had The Wall of Storms. Randomly. They didn't have, like, any of, like, the big fan. They didn't have, Sarah J. Maas. They didn't have Brandon Sanderson. But they had The Wall of Storms for some reason. And it was just that one. It was only that. I don't know why. I didn't buy it. For two reasons. One, it was the wrong edition, because I want to own the UK hardcovers of that series, because I think they're beautiful covers. And that book is chunky. It is a chunky book, and I don't have much room in my luggage, so I had to pass. But what are the odds that they just randomly have that book at this bookstore? That's like mostly used books too. So like, did someone bring that in there and sell it to them? Because like they had like this whole system where you could bring in books and they would buy them from you. So did someone bring The Wall of Storms to Bangkok and then sell it specifically at that store? And if so, what are the odds of that? That like that's just such a random book to have there. I don't know. It blew my mind. That was a really cool moment for me. Because it felt like such a serendipitous, thing to have at their store. I did end up buying a book. I bought The Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut. If you're watching the video, I'll show it to you now. The cover is really cool for it, and it's clearly like a used paperback. The pages are all yellowed. It's got crinkles. It's been taped together in one spot, and I kind of love it, man. I love this kind of book. I love having books that are, that have personality to them. I think a lot of people really love buying, pretty books. They like buying like brand new, fresh books that are crisp and clean. And sometimes I like doing that. But if you ever look at my bookshelf in the background of my videos, if you go look at any of that, you'll notice that most of my books are secondhand. I buy most of my books at like library sales or secondhand bookstores because I like having books with personality. I like books that are well traveled, and it just, I don't know, it makes my bookshelf to me feel more personable and more personalized to me instead of just consumerism. It also helps that when I'm buying those, it's contributing to the library. It's contributing to like usually a local business, and I don't know. I like the look of bookshelves like that. I gotta be honest. Feels a little bit like a red flag to me. If this is you, it's fine. I'm not saying this is actually true. It's just my weird judgy thing about me, okay? If I see someone and their bookshelf is like way too neat and all the editions match up and like they're all like brand spanking new books, I don't like it. I just don't like it. And me personally, I don't like the look of those shelves, and I would never do that. But obviously, I'm not you. If you are like that, I'm not judging you. I'm not. I am a little bit, but like not in a real way. I like in a friendly way. Like I'm judging you, like, oh, you. What are you doing there with all those new editions? You could save money, if you go to secondhand. I get it. Some people, like they like organization or whatever. I get comments on my videos sometimes, like if I show like a series and all the books have different editions, so they're like all over the place, which most of my series are like that. I'll get comments all the time from people telling me, they're like, oh, it drives me crazy that you have different editions of these books. And I get it, but I don't, because I love it. I love it, but like I get why it would bother other people. So that's just a fun fact about me. And I'm really happy to own this cover, or this version of Sirens of Titan, which I have not read this book. I actually have almost no idea what it's about, but my friend Brady's Bookshelf, he's recommended this book several times on his page, so I decided to pick it up because I trust his recommendations, and I've also never read any Kurt Vonnegut, so I think this will be a good place to start. And I think it's in line with my goal of this year of reading more outside the box, reading outside of my comfort zone a little bit. I think this is something that will aid me in that mission. Yeah, so that was cool. Going to a bookstore was an unexpected, fun adventure for me. I've been back a couple times. I haven't bought anything because I don't have much room in my luggage, but still fun. It was like $4 to buy that book. Not even. It was like $3. Really cool deal. Let's see. I think that's just about everything I wanted to. Well, actually, there's a few more things. So for one, if you're a huge Sun Eater fan like me, I think there's some of you that are listening to this that are probably huge Sun Eater fans. The first chapter of the last Sun Eater book, Shadows Upon Time, is available on Christopher Rocchio's Patreon. I sprinted. I already read it. As soon as I saw the announcement, the first thing I did, I went and bought it. Like, immediately. I had to read it. And my God, I fucking love this series. Dude, I want to reread it so bad. Actually, I have a friend who's reading the first book right now, and he gave me updates the other day, and dude, it took every ounce of willpower in me to not just open it right up on Kindle and start rereading the series. And then when I read this first chapter of the next book, it just, dude, I love that series so much. I just love it so much. The way that Christopher Rocchio writes, it's not just his prose, it's not just his world building, it's not just the characters, it's just, he has this way of painting a picture with his words. This certain cinematic quality to the way that he describes things and the way that he really just, I don't know, it's so hard to explain unless you've read the books, but he has this way of plugging you into Hadrian's mind, the main character's mind, and giving you these vivid images, these cinematic, poetic images that just stick with you. I read just the first chapter of this next book, and already I have this fantastic image in my head of just this. Oh God, I don't want to say anything because, obviously it's not even out yet. This is just a Patreon thing that you can do. It's just so good. Just one chapter gave me a better image than like entire books have left me with. That's how good Sun Eater, dude. It's just on a whole different level. It is just a whole different level of masterful writing. I fucking love this series. God. Anyways, I will be rereading it this year. This makes me want to do it earlier than I should be. Because if I start it now, I'm gonna definitely finish my reread well before Shadows Upon Time comes out in December. So I gotta wait a little bit. Probably towards the midpoint of the year, I'll start my reread. That way I'm not like too far ahead. I feel bad for people who are like gonna finish Disquiet Gods in like February, and then they gotta wait like 8 months, 10 months to fucking read the next one. No way, Jose. I'm starting my reread later. Anyways, that's the Sun Eater update here because I love it so much and I have to talk about it. That's about it. I think that's about it for today's episode. I'm still trucking along in my writing. I had to kind of start over, so it was going to be a first-person book, and I decided, no, it needs to be third-person, simply because there's too many characters that I need to tell the story of, and I couldn't do it through first-person. It doesn't really change much for me about the way I'm telling the story, so mostly I have to just go back through and just change the pronouns for the main character. That way it comes through as third person, and then I'm gonna kind of start over in some ways with other character storylines. So I'm not like really setting myself back. If anything, I'm just giving myself a little bit of extra work in terms of the plot I've already created. And then I'm kind of ramping up with other storylines now from the beginning of their starting points. So, I'm a little stressed about that, but yeah, I think I know it's the right move for this story, so I definitely need to do it. I'm hoping I'll be done in the next month and a half, 2 months maximum. I don't know for sure if that's the truth, but I'm certainly going to try. And yeah, that's where I'm at with writing. I'll update you more because right now, since I had to think this through, I didn't really actually do much writing this week. It was a lot more of me just thinking and planning, and I didn't actually get a whole lot of words onto page. But I'm gonna start getting back to writing more and more. I don't even know how many I wrote this week, but I'll try and give you every week a word count update, which will, I think, also help me just facilitate this discussion of talking about my writing. Yeah, so you can expect one more video here in Bangkok. If you're watching the video, I know the background is kind of weird. It's a little funky. I'm heading to an island in just like 3 days. I'm going to Phuket, Thailand, and I'm very excited because I love islands. I mean, I feel like that goes without saying. I think most people love islands. I'm excited to have the beach in the sun. I can drive myself around there on a little motorbike. I'll be just chilling and reading, and maybe I'll try surfing. I've never tried surfing before. There's an EDM festival going on that I'm going to, so I'm about to have a great week on an island, and I'm sure I'll have plenty to update you with. I'm going to try to finish The Grace of Kings in the next 2-3 days. I don't know for sure if I'm going to make that happen, but you might very well be getting an update for that. And after this, I'm going to be reading The Hunger of the Gods. So that'll all be in next week's update, just giving you a little sneak peek of what's coming up in my reading schedule. And that's about it. I know I've said that like twice now, but I keep thinking of more stuff, and I really do think that I've actually run out of things to talk about now. I don't know. I'm so bad at like keeping my thoughts in order. I just kind of let them just get scattered to the wind like dandelion seeds. If you're reading The Grace of Kings, that's a good reference. And they just kind of take me wherever. I never really know what I'm gonna say next. Like right now, I don't know what my next words are gonna be. Schmogeldorf. That was my next word. Schmogeldorf. Didn't think I was gonna say that, did you? I didn't think so either. I don't know where that came from. All right, okay, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up before I start getting incoherent, because we're getting there. We're on the borderline of me being incoherent. I might already be there. I might be Delulu. So let's wrap it up here. I'll see you guys in the next video, in the next podcast. And until then, I hope you're happy and healthy. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye. My laptop is turned off a second. Hold on. Bye.